It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, it's showtime. What's happening, everybody? Geno Jones, showtime. Bam! I'm here. Come on down or sit down or stand up. Come on in. My chat room is open. The show is interactive. So if you got a question or comment, you want me to shout you out, you had birthday, or anniversary, whatever it is, you got a job, you quit that lousy ass job. Maybe you had a boss like Pete Hegseth, Pete punk ass Hegseth, the Secretary of War. Anyway, we're about to get into that. We're about to take a deep dive very shortly. Now, Monday through Friday, normal start days, we had a maintenance day was yesterday, and I should have told you ahead of time. For those who came, was looking for a live show. There was no live show on Tuesday. We had a maintenance day where we take a day. We basically maintenance on the equipment, make sure that the equipment and technology, little stuff, changing batteries, and just like you take your car in for a tune-up. So, the show technically had to have it was time for a tune-up to make sure everything was running smoothly. So here we are. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Stand up, Chicago. I see you. Stand up, San Antonio. We got one of your heroes who's going to be joining the show shortly. Our military expert, retired Master Sergeant Roy Gray. You can imagine he got a lot to talk about. So much in the news with potential. Well, I'm calling them war crimes. So we'll see what Master Sergeant Gray has to say because he led men in this military. He was in the military for over 2 decades. But anyway, I digress. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Tell everybody, everybody you know that you like, that you love, you barely know, folks you don't even like, tell them to subscribe to the channel because I have folks hate watching too. The MAGA hate watches. I love y'all too. Y'all can hate watch all you want. So feel free. Once again, the show is interactive, so there's an open dialogue. As a matter of fact, I'm sure some people watching tonight, you'll probably have some questions for my guest, our military experts. So feel free to post your questions in our chat room, or you got a comment, give us your take. Maybe you are in the military, active duty, or retired military. I'd love to hear from you. If you're watching in the chat room, jump in there and tell everybody you know to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel, share, click the thumbs up, give us the likes. All that's important because YouTube, the algorithms, they catch and check all of that. And it is so important that we support Black-owned media. I'd love to have you as a sponsor or advertiser. Just shoot me an email. I have a Gmail, Geno Jones Show. That's how you spell my name at Gmail, Geno Jones Show. All one word at Gmail. Also, if you would like to support the show financially, maybe not as an advertiser, maybe you don't have a company where you want to run TV commercials, but you would just like to support the show financially, you can do that via Zelle. Use that same email address, GenoJonesShow@Gmail, or you can Cash App $Dad G Jones, $Dad. That's capital D, lowercase a d, capital G J, lowercase O-N-E-S. No amount is too small or too large. So I'll give it out again at the end of the show. All right, so shout out to, first of all, shout out to everybody that engaged that we ain't buying it. We are not buying it. The economic blackout, the holiday blackout. So apparently, them other folks, they went and spent a lot of money. That's great. I don't have any numbers yet. I'm waiting to hear from Latasha Brown and Cliff Averill, Black Voters Matter, to get some information. But this is going on, all right? The entire holiday. We ain't buying it. Let them folks, the folks that voted for this regime and for this hatred and inhumanity and racism and bigotry and misogyny and sexism, they voted for it. Let them support it. But don't worry, them chickens, the chickens are not coming home to roost. The chickens are already home roosting. So, but I do hope to get some data from my friend at Black Voters Matter. So the holiday blackout still stands for the Geno Jones Show. As a matter of fact, I was today here in Charleston, South Carolina. The city had a diversity, equity, and inclusion program. So I saw a live news story to where the federal government, Orange Hitler, basically told the city of Charleston, South Carolina, they have to get rid of their DEI programs to promote and create more diversity, equity, and inclusion if they wanted to get, I think it's like $106 million from the federal government. So like I said, that's fine. You want to get rid of all of the diversity, equity, and inclusion? Fine. We're gonna get rid of ours. We're gonna get rid of our money and our talent. So let's anti-DEI our dollars for this holiday. Let's take our dollars out of this economy. So shout out to everybody that's still doing that. Shout out to Representative Jasmine Crokett. She is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. Her district is Dallas, Texas, that area. Now she is going to run for one of the 2 U.S. Senate seats that's up for grabs in the state of Texas. As a matter of fact, my guess, he is from Texas, like we said earlier. So he can get out there and vote for Jasmine Crokett. And I want to segue to what's going on. You've probably seen or heard a lot. Basically, we're not at war with Venezuela. First of all, let me establish that. We're not at war with Venezuela. Now, this government, Orange Hitler, has allowed punk-ass Pete Hegseth, who basically had to lie and swear, because he probably lied, because if his eyes are moving and his mouth is moving, he's lying like Orange Hitler. But basically, he had to just tell the senators that he would stop drinking. The only way that they confirmed him is that he vowed that he would stop drinking, because his former co-workers at the Fox propaganda channel basically called him a drunk. They did, by how he would show up to work drunk and smelling like alcohol and acting crazy and tearing up furniture and shit. So I digress. So anyway, you probably heard the stories about these small boats, small like 39-foot boats, roughly 1,200 miles from the nearest point to the U.S., just off in the Caribbean, South Caribbean, in that general vicinity of where Venezuela is. So there have been several boats that have been blown up. Now, this regime claims that these are drug dealers and they're bringing poison into the United States. So they're blowing, but there's been no evidence of any drugs on the boat. There's a trendy, whatever it is. There's a name, this alleged Venezuelan gang, Tren Diagua, some crazy ass name. But anyway, so this is supposed to be this dangerous, violent Venezuelan gang and drug smugglers. So supposedly, in these little bitty ass 39 feet boat, 39, boats 39 feet long, 39 footers for those who own boats. Oops. And they've blown up these boats with no proof of any drugs. No drugs have been recovered. We don't know who these people are, but that's what this regime is saying. Now, there's been a lot of stories because the Washington Post, they released a story about on September 2nd, according to people who were in the know, who was in some room with Pete Hegseth, either when these strikes happened or while they were planning these strikes, said that according to these people inside the Pentagon, inside the military, who, for obvious reasons, they didn't give their name, but they released this information to the Washington Post, that Pete Hegseth basically told those who are that part of, I think, Southern Command, that part of the Caribbean, and these were naval operators, to kill everybody. Now, there was a brother who was the head of the command in that area, brother named Admiral Alvin Hosley, who retired in October, who basically retired. Now, He's only been on the job for a year. Usually, admirals stay on jobs like that 3 years. But the brother was smart. He was like, oh, y'all not going to have me doing some bullshit and get me up on war crimes and throw me under the bus. So he retired early, like 2-3 years early. Now they got an admiral, a white guy named Admiral Frank Bradley, who they have thrown under the bus because the Washington Post, they have released, they did a big story. Basically, people inside the military or the Pentagon were in the room and heard, according to these sources, inside the military and the Pentagon, when Pete Hegseth told the people that would be bombing these boats to kill everybody. And on September 2nd, there was a boat that was blown up, and there were 2 people who survived, and so they were shipwrecked. They were holding on to pieces of this blown up boat. And then there was a second missile or rocket strike that killed the 2 survivors on the boat. We don't know if they were Tren de Agua or Mama Say, Mama Sa, Mama Kusa, your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother. We don't know who they were. And they claim, well, we know who was on the boat. We know. Never saw any evidence. So, Pete Hegseth was talking big shit. Yeah, I was in the room. I saw the whole thing, and I was proud of it. Now, even people in the military say, yo, dude, you do understand that is a war crime. It is like written in this Uniform Military Code of Justice, I think they call it UMCJ. As a matter of fact, I don't want to waste any more time because I've never served in the military. I have learned from family and friends who have been in the military. So full disclosure, the man you're about to see on screen, he is a retired master sergeant in the Marines, over 2 decades, served all over this planet, and he is the military expert for the Geno Jones Show. And full disclosure, he is my first cousin, who I had none but love and respect for. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Geno Jones Show, Master Sergeant Roy Gray. Master Sergeant, welcome back. All right. So, let me, look, I just want you to dive in, but people have probably seen so much. So now, there are many, you have politicians, even some of these MAGA politicians, they are not comfortable with these civilians because first of all, we're not at war. You can explain that because only Congress can declare war, but you can explain all that. But, you hit this boat once on September 2nd, and then apparently they saw 2 people who were holding on to some of the wreckage of the boat. And according to those inside the military or the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth had given an order to kill, the quote was, kill everybody, which is a war crime. It is an illegal order. You can speak to that, and I'll just let you just start where you want to start and kind of educate everybody and why it's so dangerous, how that puts men and women active duty in more danger, how it puts civilians in America or even, retired, those who are retired military or those Americans, civilians or not, who travel around the world, how all that puts us in danger and how it really weakens the military. So take it away, Master Sergeant.
Okay, I want to start by saying I'm sure there's some MAGA folks out there that watch you, because it probably the things you say about Trump pisses them off. So I'm sure they're watching. Who knows? He may be watching also. But just for those people specifically, you need to wake up. What's it going to take? Every day, there's something new that comes out of the Trump administration. Something crazy every day. Now he says that this is the greatest presidency ever, according to him. Just sit and just think for a moment. Have you ever known a presidency to have this many problems every day? A president that sits up all night watching television stations to see if anyone says anything about him so he can tweet little nasty things to them. This is the president of the United States. You know, the fact that he's up tweeting people is the craziest thing in the world.
And
But
he's up
anyway,
all night, but he's falling asleep in cabinet meetings.
yeah, he's sitting in the chair nodding, you know, but he's the greatest president ever. And I listened to another gentleman who brought this up. He said, under normal circumstances, we would not even be having this conversation. Look, Sleepy Pete would be gone already. He would be out of a job, Mr. Secretary of Defense, War, or the playground, or whatever he is. He would be gone. He has lost the confidence of the military. That happened a long time ago. But he has really lost the confidence of the military now that he has thrown the admiral under the bus. Someone also commented, while this action was taking place and we were blowing up these boats, what was more important for you, the Secretary of Defense, to leave the room? How about you tell us where you went and what you did that was more important than a fire mission? And you said this is ridiculous that we even have to sit and talk about this kind of stuff. And I also just saw a video. You remember those 5 senators that came on and read from the UCMJ about illegal orders and unlawful
Senator
orders.
Mark Kelly, Senator Alyssa Slotkin in Michigan, and the
Yes.
3 or 4 Congress people.
Right. Okay. About 10 minutes ago, I just watched a video of Pete Hegseth reading the same thing some years ago on Fox News. The exact, he said the exact same thing that they said, but now it's a crime. You know, it's sedition, what they're saying, but he must forget that, you know, tapes last forever. They've got him on tape. He said the exact same thing that those senators said. But it's a problem now, but not back when he said it.
So, Master Sergeant, let me stop you. I want to break it down. I want to take our time for those who've never been in the military, who are watching the show live or watching the recorded version of the show. Explain to people was it the Uniform Military Code of Justice? Explain to everybody, and if you can, you could probably recite it by memory, because I know you've probably recited it thousands of times over 20 years to men and women that served under you. Explain exactly what the Military Code of Justice is, and this particular a part of it's like a booklet or a handbook that anyone who gets in the military, they get the handbook, or they're taught and told, and the specific part that refers to this boat that was blown up, and then the people who were shipwrecked on September 2nd from the boat, the fact that there was another missile strike or rocket strike that killed them. Explain, what those senators and Congress people, and kind of break it down for those who never been in the military.
Okay. Now that code is used to guide people in the military. It's made to guide their performance and the things that they do should they become engaged in combat or whatever. If they're shooting at somebody, you have to go by this code. So, and the really big part of this code, the reason we follow it, because if we don't follow it, other nations may not follow it. Think about the last 2 wars that we had, where we had people who were captured. Now, if those people didn't follow those laws, they could have killed all the people that they captured. And nothing could have been said if we were not following those rules. No matter what we're doing, if we were to approach a village and somebody shoots a serviceman, you can't go in that village and kill everybody in that village. You got to find out who killed that serviceman and get that person. You cannot kill everybody. And as for that boat, once you blew up that boat, we're not talking about a guided missile carrier here. This is a wooden boat that they blew up with some people in it. We were under no threat at any time. No time, because someone else also brought that up about the point about being under a threat. What, before we blew that boat up, we were under no threat because I'm sure they probably used a drone that was flying 10,000 miles up and blew those boats up. So you can't take no action against those drones, and you damn sure can't take no action against a carrier group that's surrounded by 5 destroyers and submarines and all kind of jets on the aircraft carrier. So once we blew up that boat, there definitely was nothing. There was nothing those people on that boat could do against the people who came after them. So if you got people in the water, you have to rescue them. You have to rescue them and render aid.
And
That's what the
that's military law, right? It's not. Or
yes.
now, is that a federal law, or is that just this part of the code military law that
It's part. It's
if
part
you
of
don't do that would be an illegal order? Explain that to us.
yes. That is a part of our code. If you pick up prisoners of war, you must render aid and comfort to those prisoners and take them in. You cannot, I don't care how pissed off you are, who died or what, you cannot hurt them. You have to take them in and give them aid and comfort and any medical things that they may need until a later time. And we do this because we want other countries to also do the same thing. Because, like I said, if some Americans are captured somewhere, if we don't follow the laws, you can believe that the other countries are not going to follow the laws. And the only reason they follow these laws is because we set the example. In the past, people look up to us. I have served all over the world. You know what I'm saying? I've served all over the Pacific, all over the Mediterranean. You can't name a piece of dirt that I haven't kicked around in. I've served with the Italians, the Turks, the Italians, you name it, the Koreans. They look up to us. Now, I don't know about now, but in the past, they look up to us and they look to us to lead, to be a leader in the world. So they follow the things that we do. So can you imagine if we start killing innocent people, then that's all gone. Then they're no longer going to look at us as a leader of the world. Everywhere I've gone, the people just they love us and they look up to us for guidance about these kind of things because they know that no matter what happens, the United States is going to follow all the laws and rules of engagement, which means not killing innocent civilians or wounded soldiers from somewhere else. We just don't do that.
And Master Sergeant, explain to the viewers why that's so dangerous for our active duty men and women still serving and civilians or anyone else, retired
Oh, yeah.
military, traveling or living abroad.
Oh, yeah. Because now there's no doubt in my mind that today the United States, because of Donald Trump, has a target on its back. And look at the guy that killed the National Guardsman. Now, I don't know what his problem was, but that's an example. We have a target on our back right now because of Donald Trump and Hegseth and all the other stupid stuff that he's been doing with our military. So we have civilians all over the world. And so that in the embassies and places like that. So now you're putting them in danger because when you do things like this, you piss people off because right now they feel like, oh, the United States thinks they're better than us. And of course, now let me tell you this. I never said this to you before. The United States, wherever it goes, it takes its attitude with it, because sometimes they treat people like they are beneath the United States. Why do you think they built the White House the way they built it? Why do you think, now here's another one. All of our military stuff is bigger than anybody else's. The Vietnamese said the United States was like an elephant coming through the jungle, and we couldn't help but see him coming because everything was so big. And they do that to bring in the intimidation factor. So a lot of people think that all we do, and I've spoken to people in countries who had that mindset, the United States tries to intimidate everybody. And a lot of people don't like it. And so you never know. These civilians that we have working in embassies, they've got their families over there, you know, and you never know. They got their kids over there going to schools in different places. So you never know when someone may just decide, well, I can't kill any soldiers, but these families are soft targets.
Yeah.
I can get them,
Makes it
you
very
know?
dangerous. Master Sergeant, you talked about how Hegseth and the man I refer to as Orange Hitler had lost the respect of the military. Could you,
Oh
if
my
you don't
God.
mind, sharing some of the conversations that you've been having, and I know you've told me off camera that it has only gotten worse. So if you could, just what are some of the things that the retired veterans like yourself, and maybe you've had conversations or third-party conversations with some folks who may still be active duty or in the Pentagon. What are those conversations like in terms of this madness that's going on? It's clear from talking to you that many people in the military are not happy. We talked, we weren't on camera, but we talked about when Senator Kelly and Senator Slotkin and the Congress people in the House did the video. They didn't
Right,
just do this out of the clear blue. Somebody
right.
inside the military or the Pentagon must have said something to them, and they knew or saw that video probably from September 2nd and said, listen, we need you all to tell the men and women of the military, many young people, that
Right.
they are not to, obey an illegal order, but just what are some of the conversations like, and maybe it's obvious what's caused the lack of respect, but just speak to that. What are the conversations like for men and women like you who have served and those who may still be in the military, maybe with some level of rank?
You know, as a leader in the Marine Corps, you are taught to know your men. You have to know your men. You got to know everything about him. You got to know all his attitudes and everything and whether or not he will fight or what he will do. You have to know. And once you acquire the skill, then you can easily judge people. So the first time that I saw Hegseth, the first thing that crossed my mind is that this man has no business being the Secretary of Defense. And I'm here to tell you, the other people I know said the exact same thing. His demeanor, his mannerisms, everything. He's trying to play the tough guy. You know, I got a big gun over here, so now I'm a tough guy. No, you're not. And a lot of people feel that way about him. He's trying to play the tough, he's like a little boy trying to play a tough guy role. And he's got a lot of power to play with, which makes this really dangerous. And he's already thrown the admiral under the bus. And you can believe the troops on the lowest end of the spectrum have seen this, and they have no respect for this man. I don't care if you're in the military and you're MAGA or whatever, and you see this man throwing that admiral under the bus, and I'm telling you, it causes you to stop and think. Well, if he's going to throw that out admiral under the bus, he doesn't care anything about us. He could care less about the troops, and they all know it. And once you lose the confidence of the troops, you can't get it back. You can't. Believe me when I tell you this, and you ask any person that's ever been in the military for a length of time, if you lose the confidence of the troops, you will not get it back because they know that you are not capable of leading them to the bathroom. So, you cannot get their trust back. They will not trust you under any circumstances. And he's done stuff. I mean, well, first he started with what was it, the call or the email where he let all that information
Yes,
out.
he wasn't
That was-
using a secure device. He was.
Yes.
I forgot the. I got the platform that he was using, but it was
Yeah.
unsecured. And he
Yeah.
tried to lie
Okay.
about that. Yes.
Okay.
Signal
Number
chats. I
one,
think it was signal chats. Yeah.
under normal circumstances, from that, you go to jail. Way back when they
That's right.
started
You
you
did
out with,
say that. Yeah.
yeah, they started you out with like a $10,000 fine or something like that. You're going to jail. But they just blew it off like it was nothing. He put folks in danger then, but they just blew it off like it was nothing. And now you've got this. Of course, now He's sitting in D.C. with his tie on. He's not in any of these other countries. He's not out there shooting at those boats. But those troops that are out there, you putting them in danger. Because if somebody captures one of our troops somewhere, what are they going to do to him? Because they may be pissed off from the stuff that's been going on. They say, well, they're killing our people, we'll kill their people.
So
And that's
the admiral who's been thrown under the bus, according to Hegseth and Orange Hitler, Admiral Bradley is supposed to speak to some members of Congress either tomorrow or Friday. Do you do you think he will take the fifth? Do you think he will fall on the sword, or do you think he's going to say, listen, he's going to just tell the truth, exactly what happened, and consequences be damned? You were a leader in the military. I mean, you don't know this man personally, but you understand, how leaders in the military think. So what's your take? What do you think is going to happen with that conversation that he's going to have with members of Congress about what happened on September 2nd, and especially the second strike that killed the two survivors that was on the boat?
What's that saying about being in between a rock and a hard place?
Okay.
He is in a tough spot, And I don't know what his relationship is with Trump, because, Trump always saying, oh, I don't know him. Right. But, he's big on that. Oh, I don't know him. But if I were him, I would come in and tell everything and look to Congress and the politicians to protect me.
Okay.
I would tell everything, because if you come in there and lie, that lie may come back to haunt you later on down the road, because we know that anybody that deals with Trump, something always comes back on them later on. Rudy Giuliani, all of them. It always comes back. So if it was me, I'd come in and I would tell exactly what happened, and I would tell them, Congress, I need your protection after I told you the truth. Because if you tell the truth, well, we know you're no longer popular with the orange man.
Right.
And you're not going to keep that job. So I'm going to assume he's been in about 30 years already, so he can just go ahead and retire and go home. But come in and tell the truth and walk out. But if you come in and I don't know what kind of backbone he's got, but you come in and lie about this, we're talking about war crimes here. This could come back to bite you later on down the road. Just like in World War II.
Because I was going to finish your thought, because that's where I want to go next. I know you and I had the conversation. I asked you about it, I think last night or earlier today, but I want you to talk about that. But finish your last thought.
I was just saying, because if you look at World War II and the Germans, war was over, but man, they hung a lot of Germans because of those war crimes. And, they said, well, Hitler told me to do it. Well, okay, anyway, we're going to hang you anyway. Yeah. So rather than have this bite him in the ass later on down the road, to me, he should come in and just tell the truth and tell Congress, okay, I need you guys to protect me from this fool, and I'm going to go ahead and retire and go home. But hopefully he will tell the truth, not put himself deeper in that orange hole. So
speaking of war crimes, before I let you get out of here, I want to segue, because I know we talked about this off camera. Because Orange Hitler's not going to be in office. I predicted the inauguration night that he won't see the end of this term. So my point is that eventually this man is not going to be in the White House. Hegseth is not going to be Secretary of War. Admiral Bradley may or may not still be around. But these men, for that incident on September 2nd, our military could hold them, basically hold them accountable, bring them to justice. I don't know legally if legally our laws, our federal laws, could hold them accountable, but I'm pretty sure the military can, and speak to the international court. Like you had Benjamin Netanyahu, who was
Yeah,
found guilty in
exactly.
the International Court of War Crimes. So there are countries that he cannot travel to because if he
Exactly.
does, he would be arrested. So speak to the possibility of Trump, Hegseth, or the people who were under them, from the admiral who allegedly gave the orders to the people who actually fired the weapon.
Now he killed thousands of people, probably unnecessarily in my eyes.
Tens of, yes, absolutely.
And now Trump here has caused, I don't know, two, three people to die. I
Well, they
mean, it's a
claim
joke.
like it's been eight. Their number was all these boats that were blown up in the same region. Like they killed 80
Yeah,
people, which
yeah.
which means they
So,
probably killed 10 times that,
yeah.
or easy.
So, I mean, any death is a tragedy at any number. So, a war crime is a war crime, no matter how many people you kill.
Okay, thank you. So
So,
there's no
so
legally the International Court or the Uniform Military Code of Justice, like is whether you kill one or 10,000,
it's a war
one is
crime.
enough to get you up on a war crime. Okay.
It's a war crime. And so, could you imagine if they decided to charge Trump or Hegseth, and then they couldn't leave the United States? They'd put a bounty out on them, you know, which I would love to see. But I mean, I don't know. But I think, and then
Well, let me
I
ask you
don't.
this. Let me ask you this. So, because of the Supreme Court, Orange Hitler probably will get immunity because the Supreme Court said that any official act you know, it would be, I guess, in
Yeah,
their eyes, would be
yeah.
afforded, immunity
Oh yeah,
because it's an official act. But
yeah.
everybody under him, the military could hold them accountable and bring them to justice, right? Am I correct?
Yep,
So
yep.
everybody but Trump, from Hegseth on down, our own military could be like, no, we're not gonna let this pass
Right. And I don't think the Supreme Court can cover him,
on a war
Trump,
crime. Oh,
through
that's a
on
good
on
point.
on war
That's a
crimes.
good point.
Because the Supreme Court has nothing to do with the international court. Nothing. Because I mean, well, look at Hitler. Of course, he died, but I mean, he was charged with war crimes. There was no court in Germany that could have saved him, and there's no court in the United States that can save Trump if he's accused of war crimes. That Supreme Court, they can't do anything. They have nothing to do with this international stuff. They rule over the United States, and that's it. Not over these other countries. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? And they're debating whether or not Hegseth is going to be let go. Under normal circumstances, he should have been gone yesterday. But only time will tell. I mean, if Trump continues the way he's been doing things, he's not going to do anything to Hegseth, and they're just going to let this go. But believe me, those other countries are watching. Like I told you, we have a target on our back. They watch everything we do. In the past, they've always looked up to us to do the right thing. Now, I've been places where people didn't completely like us, but they always knew we were going to do the right thing. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna leave you with this. This one woman, I was in Amsterdam, and I met some people, and the lady told me the United States is just like Russia. She said the Russians do things in the open, and the United States does things behind closed
Mm,
doors that
wow,
people don't know about.
wow,
Just to give you something to think about.
wow. All right, listen, Master Sergeant. Before you leave, I want you to leave on these two points. One, we talked about it. Like you said, every day it's something, and the lack of total loss of respect for the men and women in the military, active duty, those with flag positions, with leadership, with the bars on their shoulders and medals on their chest, to those like yourself with medals and everything that retired. Anybody, we all have a breaking point. You can only push somebody too far. And I know we've talked about many times, from that stunt in Quantico where you had a draft dodger and a drunk
Yes.
trying to talk down to these generals and admirals that have spent their life dedicated to taking an oath to the Constitution. How close do you think that, and it stops with Trump, the commander in chief, at some point they are going to, I'm not saying it's going to be a military coup, but at some point, I'm sure somebody in the military, active duty or retired, are going to have a conversation and say, hey man, listen, 25th Amendment or whatever, this shit has got to stop here and now. How much further do you think, because you have conversations with retired veterans and maybe some active duties, how much more this can they take? And the last thing I want you to close with, to any person, especially young people, and we all have sons, daughters, nephews, nieces, cousins in the military, some who just joined. I want you to speak to those soldiers, young and not so young, and give them some sound advice.
Well, just think of us as being on a cliff. We are on a cliff and headed for the edge, and there's nothing in front of us to stop us from going over that cliff. And every day, in my eyes and a lot of other vets, we get closer to that cliff. Trump and his boys are pushing us closer to that cliff every day. And this thing with killing innocent civilians, throwing the admiral under the bus, talking down to all the generals, admirals, and senior enlisted folks. That's about 4 or 5 things right there. All those things have pushed us closer to that cliff. And I'm willing to bet. Now, I've been retired for some time, but I'm willing to bet a lot of veterans, just like myself, are pissed off. They're pissed off, and they're ready to go over that cliff to get rid of these fools.
So what would that look like, Master Sergeant? Going over that cliff, what would that look like?
Oh boy, we've never had any kind of a military coup that I remember. But of course now, who we got to replace Trump with? Vance? He got to go too.
And so Mike Johnson with his little punk sawed off ass, yeah.
And I think he's next in line after Vance.
Yes, he is.
I believe he's next in line after Vance.
Yeah. Speaker of the House, Vice President, Speaker of the House.
Yeah. So that's a lot of folks you'd have to get rid of. And like this other gentleman was saying, these are not normal conversations that we're having here. Nobody ever thought we'd have conversations like this. But we have come to that. We're on that cliff right now. Now, when we're going to go over, whoo, boy, that's a tough one.
So just listening to you say that, Master Sergeant, there are thousands I've seen them on social media, of veterans, like you said, those who were in leadership, retired, that have been openly talking about we're not going to tolerate. So you would think somebody, it just goes to show you the arrogance and not naivety, taking it up to Orange Hitler. It's like, dude, you have to understand, you being the commander in chief, the only thing that's really saving your ass is the discipline of these men and their oath that they take to the Constitution. That's the only thing that's really saving his behind.
But
why does he want to and allow Hegseth to continue to push the military further and further away from the commander in chief? It doesn't make sense, Master Sergeant.
I know. But we already know that Trump has no respect for the military. He thinks we're a bunch of punks and, and lazy.
And losers and suckers. His own words on video. Losers and suckers.
And we know why defend the country, who cares? So we know he doesn't respect the military. But who knows? The military may be the reason that his ass disappears. You never know. You just never know.
Well, like I
because
said, when I saw that stunning Quantico, and I remember you and I talked, you said there are two things. First of all, the men, those generals and admirals, they are no punks. You cannot intimidate and scare them dudes, not at
no,
all. And they
no,
do. And two, I remember you said they do not take kindly to being threatened.
nope, under no circumstances.
So, in closing, to those, especially young men and women, active duty that's serving across the country who may be watching live or get a chance to see this video, what would you say to them if you were currently active duty as their leader, as a master sergeant in the Marines, or just if you had a chance to speak to any soldier in any branch?
Well, in the past, believe it or not, young servicemen really didn't pay any attention to politics. Trump started all of this bullshit. The young servicemen were busy being young servicemen and learning their jobs. And they didn't really care about politics. They didn't care who the president was. They know they have a job to do, and that's what they're going to do. But Donald Trump has brought them in the mix now. And because they realize that this man is not for them. So any young person that's coming in right now, you can come in now, do your job, follow your orders, and you can still make it. Because remember, this man ain't gonna be there forever. Because the way he looking at that damn cabinet meeting, he looks like he might fall over any day. So he's not going to be here forever, and we're going to always need a diverse and strong military. That diversity is what made our military strong. I've had platoons where we had people from every Chinese, Armenians, black, white, Puerto Rican. You have a mixture of people. And no, we don't always get along, but we get the job done when it comes time to get the job. We were one big family. We fight together and do all kind of crazy stuff, but we always took care of each other and we got the job done. And you always need that diversity in the military. You want to make it look like society. And people in the military, they mature quicker than people outside of the military because you have to.
Yeah.
You have more peer pressure. And so you become, even though you're a young man or a young woman, they mature much faster than their counterparts. And they love the country and the Constitution, and they're willing to die for it. So don't let this orange fool and his buddies bring you down. There are better days to come.
And you said something, and I want to go back because it's so important. It's at the heart. It's the crux of this conversation and what we're seeing. You said follow orders, but please explain to these men and women active duty the difference between following orders and not following an illegal order, and give them an example of what an illegal order would sound or look like.
Well, let's just say we just happen to be in Afghanistan. We come into a village, and you walk up on some of the locals, and whoever's in charge tells you shoot him. I think he's a bad guy. That's an unlawful order. You cannot do that. You have no reason. You don't know that he's an enemy combatant, even though he looks like one of them. You don't know that he's an enemy combatant. So, you cannot do anything to that person. We only fight against enemy combatants. We only fight when there's a threat against us, or if we're going into somewhere where we know there's a threat and we have to fight. But you don't go after innocent women, kids, none of that stuff. Only enemy combatants, and you'll be all right. And there's always going to be somebody in your platoon who's going to back you up on that. Always. There's always going to be somebody. If somebody tells you to do something that's wrong, I guarantee you there's 5 more guys that's going to tell you, no, you can't do that. And they're going to back you up because that's the way the military is. Yes, there've always been some bad apples in the military, but you've always got some good guys standing by that's going to point you in the right direction and make sure you don't do the wrong thing. because that's, like I said, that's why we need all of that diversity, because those guys take care of each other and they make sure that they follow the correct rules. There's always somebody that's going to point you in the right direction to keep you from, breaking out the military laws under the Code of Justice.
And those unlawful orders could not just happen on a foreign land, on foreign soil
Oh, no.
like Afghanistan. They could
Anywhere.
happen here, stateside, here on the
Because
continental United States. If
let me
Marines
tell you this.
now, please, thank you.
Let me tell you this. This is what my commanding officer used to say. He said, "You're a Marine 24 hours a day." He said, "I don't give a damn where you go after you leave the base here. You're a Marine 24 hours a day," which means all those laws and rules, they cover you no matter where you are. So it don't matter. If you could be in Louisiana, Washington, D.C., or wherever, those laws cover you wherever you are, because you are a Marine, soldier, sailor, airman, 24 hours a day. Yes, this place, I used to go to work and get off at 4 o'clock or whatever, go home, come back. It don't matter. You're a Marine 24 hours a day. If I call your name, you got to be here. So, it's not like I go home and I no longer work here.
Master Sergeant, I see why the men and women that served under you were loyal to you and followed you. You've shared stories where you even had other leaders in the military. Like, what did you tell them? What did you say to them to get them to follow your orders so precisely and to be so loyal? But I see you've got the energy, that leadership style, and just the compassion and the humanity that you have for them. Just wanted to make sure that they honor the uniform, that they honor themselves, their family, their family's name, and to honor the military, like you said, being professional and having a moral standard. Like you said, you all are professional. You're not some proud boys, or oath keepers. You all are for real, professional military.
Right. And also remember this: you cannot lead from behind. Pete and Donald, you cannot lead from behind.
Drop the mic on that. Master Sergeant Roy Gray, thank you, Master Sergeant. Thank you, cuz.
All right,
I appreciate you, man.
Okay.
I will, we'll have you back on soon. We had a lot of viewers, and you gave some great advice. So anybody, if you got any family members in the military, send them this episode. Go ahead and copy and paste the link, or tag them if they're on social media, because the Master Sergeant really shares some great advice. And send this show to Hegseth and Orange Hitler. They need to see this too. Thank you, Master Sergeant.
All right.
All right, man. All right. That's Master Sergeant Roy Gray, retired. But like I said, he retired Marine. He's Marine till the day he dies. So I thought he gave great perspective and great advice. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and you, especially you, God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Tell everybody to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Subscribe and share. Please copy and paste the link. Like I said, tag the page, share it, copy and paste that link in a text message, a DM, direct message, you name it. However you want to tag them, copy and paste that email or that link to the show. Make sure you do that. All right. I would love to have you as a sponsor. If you'd like to advertise on the Geno Jones Show here on my YouTube channel, please reach out to me. Use my email address, Geno Jones Show. That's how you spell my name, GenoJonesShow@gmail. I would love to have you as a sponsor. I'd love to have you as one of the advertisers. Or if you would just like to support the show financially, you can do that via Zelle or Cash App. No amount is too small or too large. So you can Zelle your financial support. Just use my email address, GenoJonesShow, all one word, GenoJonesShow@gmail. No the, GenoJonesShow@gmail. Cash App, use $Dad G Jones, all one word, $, capital D, lowercase a d, capital GJ. lowercase O-N-E-S, $, G Jones. Once again, no amount too small or too large. Shout out to Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him out on Instagram, on IG, Kel Be Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP. Allie Jones, Allie Jones, Allie Jones, who? Allie Jones, the official, all right, old school, if you old school, you remember back in the 90s, this rapper, brother, really it was like a one-hit wonder, Mike Jones. That was his hit song. Mike Jones, who? Mike Jones, who? Allie Jones, who? You gonna know who. Allie Jones, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check her and her Lexi Jones collection out on Instagram, IG, LX.NCL_LX.NCL_. I love you. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. We will see you then. Thank you for watching. I love you, everybody. If you missed any of this episode, go back and watch it. Be sure to share. Don't forget to click the thumbs up, please. Like the show, click the like button, the thumbs up button. That's important. The algorithm, they look at all that. Of course, the views, and how long you view, how many times you watch the show. And that's why it's important. So you can send the show, you can share and tag people, copy and paste the link. All that is so important. It will help support not just my show here on YouTube, but my media company, Geno Media. Thank you so much. We'll see you live. Once again, thank you to retired Master Sergeant Roy Gray. He gave some great advice. If you got family members, especially active duty in the military, make sure that you send them this episode and have them watch it. Master Sergeant Gray gave some great advice. And send it, y'all, MAGA folks, send it to your boy, Orange Hitler, and the little punk-ass Pete Hegseth. Definitely send it to them. We'll see you live Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, everybody.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.